Human and alien girl discover a fallen starship core, then the core whispers one of their names out loud. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to our main characters. Emma Davis had always felt like an outsider. A born explorer, her curiosity had always driven her to venture into the unknown, whether it was the depths of her own planet or the far reaches of space. The sound of her boots echoing off the metallic floor of the derelict space station felt strangely comforting to her as she walked beside Zaralyn, an alien with shimmering silver skin and bright, almost luminescent eyes. Zaralyn wasn't like any human Emma had ever met. She was tall, with graceful movements, her presence almost ethereal, and the kind of beauty that felt otherworldly, like a star burning bright and distant. They had stumbled upon the abandoned station while searching for supplies, and Emma had insisted they explore the wreckage. It's strange, Emma murmured, glancing around at the ruins. It's like no one's been here for centuries, yet everything is perfectly intact. Zaralyn tilted her head, studying the surroundings with an intensity that only an alien might possess. This station, it is older than any records I have encountered, she said softly. I believe it holds a power, something not of our world. Emma frowned, her mind racing. What do you mean, power? Zaralyn's eyes locked onto hers. The core of this station, it is not just a power source. It is alive, in a way. Emma shivered, not entirely sure how to react to that. Alive? She took a step forward, curiosity gnawing at her. How can something like that be alive? Zaralyn didn't answer right away. Instead, she led Emma toward a large, glowing structure at the heart of the station. As they drew closer, Emma's breath caught in her throat. The core, what was left of it, was pulsing softly, its light flickering like a heartbeat. It was massive, larger than any engine she had ever seen. The metal was covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift and shimmer as if they had a life of their own. It's beautiful, Emma whispered, her voice reverent as she gazed at the mysterious core. Zaralyn's gaze remained steady, her expression unreadable. It is powerful, she said. And I believe it has been waiting for us. As Emma reached out to touch the core, the entire room seemed to shift. A low hum filled the air, growing louder until it felt as if the walls themselves were vibrating. Emma stopped, her hand just inches away from the surface. And then, a soft voice, barely above a whisper, drifted through the air. Emma's blood ran cold. Her name. Clear as day, though there was no one there. Zaralyn's eyes widened slightly, her expression betraying no emotion. It knows you, she said softly. Emma's heart raced as she pulled her hand back, suddenly unsure of whether she wanted to touch the core anymore. How could it know me, she whispered, looking at Zaralyn. We've never been here before. We've never even heard of this place. Zaralyn didn't respond immediately. Instead, she took a cautious step closer to the core, her fingers lightly grazing its surface. There is more to this than we understand, she murmured. Something here has been waiting. And it is connected to you, Emma. Emma stood frozen, her mind racing with questions she had no answers to. Who, or what, was waiting for her here? And why? Emma stood motionless, her eyes fixed on the pulsating core in front of her. Her heart was still racing, the soft whisper of her name echoing in her ears. She glanced at Zaralyn, whose expression was unreadable, yet there was a flicker of something, a spark of recognition, maybe fear, in her alien eyes. Zaralyn, what is this? How could it know my name? Emma's voice was barely above a whisper, her breath catching in her throat. Zaralyn didn't answer immediately. Instead, she stepped closer to the core, her silver skin reflecting the strange light. She raised a hand, as if to touch it, but paused, her fingers hovering just inches from its surface. I don't know, Zaralyn said slowly, her voice filled with a quiet intensity. But I believe it's not a coincidence that we found this place. Emma took a hesitant step forward, her curiosity overwhelming her fear. What do you mean? This ship, this core, it's been here for centuries. How could it possibly be waiting for us? Zaralyn turned to her, her eyes locking onto Emma's. There are things in the universe we don't understand. Powers that exist beyond our comprehension. This core, it's ancient. But it's also connected to you, Emma. There's a reason it called your name. Emma shook her head, disbelief clouding her thoughts. But why me? I'm just a human. I don't have any special connection to this. Zaralyn didn't respond, instead reaching out to touch the core. The moment her fingers made contact with its surface, a surge of energy coursed through the room. The hum grew louder, vibrating through the metal floor beneath their feet. Emma felt a strange pull in her chest, as if the core was calling to her, urging her to come closer. A wave of dizziness swept over her, but she fought it off, shaking her head to clear her thoughts. I can't explain it, Zaralyn said, her voice almost inaudible as she continued to touch the core. But something about you, your presence, it's different. This ship, this core, it reacts to you. There's a connection between you and it, something ancient, something forgotten. Emma stepped back, her mind reeling. She had always felt different, like she didn't quite belong on Earth. But this? This was beyond anything she could have imagined. What does it want from me? She asked, her voice trembling. Zaralyn pulled her hand away from the core, her face pale. I don't know, she said softly. But I think we're about to find out. Suddenly, the core emitted a low, rumbling sound, almost like a sigh. The light flickered, and Emma's heart skipped a beat as she saw something shifting within the core, a dark, swirling mass. It was as if the core itself was coming to life. The swirling mass began to take shape, slowly forming into something, or someone, that Emma couldn't quite make out. It's alive, Emma whispered, her breath catching. Zaralyn nodded solemnly. Yes, it is. And it has chosen you, Emma. The shape within the core continued to form, its edges sharpening into a more defined figure. Emma stepped back, her mind racing with 1,000 questions. What was happening? Who, or what, was emerging from the core? The light from the core grew brighter, blinding for a moment, before it dimmed once again, revealing the figure that had taken shape within. It was tall, humanoid, but its features were alien, nothing like Zaralyn, yet somehow familiar. Is that? Emma began, but the words caught in her throat. Zaralyn took a step forward, her expression tense. It is a being from beyond your understanding. But it's not here to harm you. Emma swallowed hard, still trying to process what was happening. But why me? She repeated, her voice barely a whisper. Zaralyn's gaze softened as she looked at Emma. I believe the core has chosen you for a reason. It sees something in you, something that you may not even see in yourself. Emma felt a cold shiver run down her spine as the figure in the core's light finally became clear. It was humanoid, but its eyes, deep, glowing with an inner light, seemed to pierce right through her. It's waiting, Zaralyn said, her voice barely audible. And it's waiting for you to make a choice. Emma's heart pounded in her chest as the figure reached out, its hand extending toward her, as if beckoning her forward. The decision was in her hands now, and she knew, deep down, that her life, everything she knew, was about to change forever. Emma stood frozen, her eyes locked on the figure slowly emerging from the core. It was unlike anything she had ever seen. Tall, angular, and glowing with an eerie light, the creature seemed to possess a presence that was both terrifying and captivating. Its eyes, glowing with an inner fire, focused directly on her, and she felt a strange pull, as if it was calling to her, urging her to step forward. Zaralyn, Emma whispered, her voice shaking. What is it? What is happening? Zaralyn remained silent, her eyes narrowed as she studied the figure. I do not know, Emma. But I can feel it, this being, this entity, is not of our world. It has been waiting, and now, it has chosen you. Emma took a step back, her mind racing with 1,000 questions. How could this be happening? What had she stumbled upon? Why was this entity calling to her? She wanted to run, to get as far away from this strange and terrifying place as possible. But something deep inside her, was stopping her. She couldn't tear her gaze away from the figure. The entity's hand, elongated and graceful, reached out toward her, its fingers curling slightly. As if inviting her to come closer. Emma swallowed hard, feeling a cold sweat form on her skin. What does it want from me? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't understand. Zaralyn took a step closer to her, her voice low and serious. I believe it is not about what it wants, Emma. It is about what you must choose. Emma's heart pounded in her chest as she turned her gaze back to the figure. The more she looked at it, the more she felt drawn to it. She didn't understand why, she didn't even know if she wanted to, but it felt as if there was no turning back. The entity's voice echoed in her mind, soft but clear, like a distant whisper on the wind. Come closer, it seemed to say, your journey has just begun. Emma's pulse quickened. She wanted to ignore the voice, to step away and run. But something inside her, something she couldn't explain, was urging her to move toward it. The figure's hand now hovered just inches from her own. She could feel its warmth radiating off of it, like the heat of 1,000 suns. It was almost too much to bear. I don't know if I can, Emma said, her voice trembling as she stood on the edge of fear and fascination. Zaralyn's eyes softened with what seemed like understanding. I know this is difficult, Emma. But whatever this entity is, it is not here to harm you. It is here to guide you, to help you find your path. You must choose. And it will be your choice, not mine. The core's light flickered, casting long shadows across the room. Emma felt as if time itself was stretching, as if the very air around her was charged with energy. She was at the center of something monumental, something beyond her comprehension. The entity's hand was now mere inches from her own. She had no choice but to make a decision. Her body moved almost on its own, her fingers reaching out toward the figure. The moment they made contact, a surge of energy shot through her. It wasn't painful, but it was overwhelming. It felt as though her entire being was being pulled into another realm, a place where time and space no longer made sense. For a brief moment, she felt as if she were floating, weightless. Suspended between two worlds. And then, just as suddenly, everything stopped. Emma blinked, her breath coming in quick gasps. The figure was gone, and the room was once again silent, save for the soft hum of the core. She looked down at her hands, feeling the tingling energy still coursing through her. What just happened? She whispered, her voice barely audible. Zaralyn stepped forward, her expression serious. I do not know, Emma. But I believe that was only the beginning. The core has chosen you, and now your journey is intertwined with its fate. Emma turned her gaze back to the core, the once powerful entity now nothing more than a faint glow. What does it want from me? She repeated, her voice steady now, though her mind was still spinning. Zaralyn shook her head. That, I cannot answer. But I believe we are about to learn the truth, in time. Emma didn't know what to feel. Fear, excitement, confusion, they all swirled inside her. But one thing was certain, her life had changed forever. She could never go back to the way things were. And deep down, she knew the path ahead would be unlike anything she had ever imagined. Emma stood in the silence that followed, her mind spinning from the inexplicable events that had just transpired. The figure from the core was gone, leaving only the faint glow of the pulsating energy. Her heart was still racing, but now a new feeling had taken its place, uncertainty. What had just happened? What had she agreed to by touching the core? She glanced over at Zaralyn, who was watching her with a serious expression, her eyes filled with something Emma couldn't quite place. Zaralyn, Emma began, her voice shaky but determined, what do we do now? Zaralyn stepped forward, her silver skin reflecting the dim light of the station. I wish I could give you an answer, Emma. But this, whatever it is, it has chosen you. And that means your path is now linked to it. Emma swallowed hard, the weight of Zaralyn's words sinking in. She had no idea what this path would mean, but there was a part of her that felt strangely connected to whatever force had just pulled her in. Do you think we're safe here? Emma asked, her eyes scanning the dark corners of the abandoned station. It felt so empty now, so silent, like the ship itself was holding its breath. Zaralyn paused, her gaze drifting to the core, still softly humming. I believe this place is safe for now. But there is something much bigger at play here, something beyond the core itself. Emma frowned, her curiosity once again pushing her forward. What do you mean? There are things out there, forces in the universe, that no one can truly understand, Zaralyn said softly, her voice almost a whisper. The core is just a piece of a much larger puzzle. And I believe, Emma, that your role in this puzzle is just beginning. Emma stared at her, trying to make sense of her words. I don't even know where to begin. I never signed up for any of this. Zaralyn turned to her, her expression softening. None of us choose this, Emma. It chooses us. But now that it has chosen you, you must decide how to move forward. Emma felt a knot form in her stomach as the weight of her decision settled in. What kind of choice was this? What did it mean for her life? She didn't even know if she was ready to face whatever was coming. I don't even know what this is, Emma said quietly. What exactly are we dealing with here? Zaralyn's eyes darkened, and for a moment, Emma saw a flicker of something unfamiliar, fear. I wish I knew, Emma. But I have seen things like this before, in ancient texts, in old prophecies. There are beings, entities, that hold the power to shape entire worlds. And I believe the core is one of them. Emma took a step back, her mind struggling to process the weight of what Zaralyn was saying. Are you saying the core is some kind of god? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Zaralyn shook her head slowly. No. Not a god, but something just as powerful. Something that has been waiting for the right moment to awaken. And now that it has, we are caught in its wake. Emma felt the ground beneath her feet shift, as though the very station was responding to Zaralyn's words. She could feel a strange pressure building in the air, a hum that seemed to vibrate through her bones. What do we do now? Emma asked, her voice steady but unsure. Zaralyn's gaze softened. For now, we wait. We try to understand what has happened and why it has chosen you. But know this, Emma, whatever happens next, you cannot turn back. Your journey has already begun. Emma nodded, though she still wasn't sure what her journey would entail. But there was no denying it, her life had changed in ways she couldn't even comprehend. She wasn't just a person anymore. She was part of something much bigger than herself. And whatever lay ahead, she would have to face it, whether she was ready or not. The station around them seemed to hum with a new energy, a promise of something more to come. As Emma turned back toward the core, she couldn't help but feel the weight of her decision. Her path was now set, and there was no turning back. She just hoped she could handle whatever came next. The silence of the station was overwhelming, broken only by the hum of the core, which had now become a constant presence in the background. Emma stood there, the weight of Zaralyn's words still heavy in her mind. Her journey had already begun, and despite the uncertainty and fear, there was a small spark inside her, a curiosity, perhaps, a desire to understand the forces that had drawn her into this. She turned to Zaralyn, who had remained silent since their last conversation. The alien's gaze was distant, focused on the flickering lights of the station, but there was something in her expression that suggested she knew more than she was letting on. Zaralyn, what did you mean when you said the core was waiting for me? Emma asked, her voice breaking the stillness. Zaralyn looked at her, the weight of the question clear in her eyes. The core, Emma, is a beacon. It has been dormant for a long time, waiting for the right individual to awaken it. The moment you touched it, something shifted. Emma felt a chill run through her, and she hugged her arms around herself. Shifted? In what way? The energy in the core is ancient, much older than anything you could imagine. And it's not just energy, it's alive in a way. It draws its strength from the one who touches it. That's why it called your name. Emma closed her eyes, trying to process this. The core wasn't just a power source, a relic of an ancient civilization, it was alive. And somehow, she had become entangled in its fate. So, what now? She asked, feeling a sense of helplessness creeping in. What am I supposed to do with this connection? Zaralyn moved closer, her silver skin shimmering in the dim light, her voice steady and calm. We don't know yet. But we will find out, together. Emma's heart fluttered in her chest at the alien's words. They weren't just offering her comfort, Zaralyn was offering her a partnership, a sense of shared purpose. It was strange to think that, only a short time ago, she had been on Earth, living a normal life, not even remotely aware of the existence of alien species, let alone being chosen by an ancient force like this. What happens to me now? Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Zaralyn tilted her head slightly, as though considering the question carefully. You must embrace what the core has awakened in you. There's power within you now, Emma. And it's going to change you, just as it's changed everything around us. Emma swallowed hard, uncertainty making her stomach turn. She had no idea what kind of power she had been granted, but the thought of it was both exciting and terrifying. She had always thought of herself as ordinary, just a person on Earth with a simple life. And now? Now she was part of something far bigger. But how do I control it? Emma asked, fear creeping into her voice. Zaralyn's expression softened, and for a brief moment, Emma saw something more than the alien warrior, something almost maternal. You don't control it, Zaralyn said gently. You learn to understand it. The core has chosen you because it believes you can learn to wield its power. But it won't be easy. You'll face challenges, trials that will test your very limits. Emma felt a knot form in her stomach, but there was no turning back now. She had already taken the first step, and there was no way to undo it. I'm scared, she admitted quietly. I don't know if I can do this. Zaralyn placed a hand on Emma's shoulder, her touch surprisingly warm. You are stronger than you think. The core believes in you, and so do I. Emma met her gaze, feeling a surge of determination rise within her. For the first time since she had touched the core, she felt a small sense of clarity. She didn't know what the future held, but she knew that she wasn't alone in this. Zaralyn would be by her side, and together, they would face whatever lay ahead. The station around them seemed to hum with anticipation, as though it too was waiting for something. Emma took a deep breath, her heart still racing but steadier now. What's next? She asked, her voice stronger than before. Zaralyn smiled faintly, her eyes gleaming with something like hope. We begin the journey. The core has chosen you, Emma. Now, it's time for you to choose the path you will walk. Emma nodded, feeling a new resolve fill her. The road ahead was uncertain, and there would be many challenges, but she was ready to face them. Whatever came next, she would not face it alone. The air around them was thick with uncertainty as Emma stood next to Zaralyn, her mind still processing everything that had happened. The core hummed softly, its presence now more familiar, almost like an old friend she didn't quite understand. But she could feel its power, its pull, deep inside her. She glanced at Zaralyn, her gaze steady and searching. You said the core has chosen me, but how do I know what it wants from me? How do I know if I'm even capable of doing what it needs? Zaralyn turned to her, her silver eyes reflecting the faint glow of the core. The core doesn't demand anything from you, Emma. It simply reveals what is already inside you. What it needs is for you to embrace it, to accept the role it has offered you. But you must be ready, because it will change you. Emma took a deep breath, the weight of Zaralyn's words sinking in. She had always considered herself ordinary, a person who fit into the world without standing out. But now, she felt like something much bigger was beginning to unfold around her, and it was terrifying. What kind of changes are we talking about? Emma asked, her voice filled with trepidation. Zaralyn paused, her expression thoughtful. The kind of change that will test you. The kind of change that will challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself. But it is also the kind of change that can lead to incredible growth. Emma looked away, her thoughts swirling. She wanted to believe that she could face whatever came next, but the uncertainty felt like a heavy weight on her shoulders. And what happens if I'm not ready for this? She asked softly. What if I fail? Zaralyn stepped closer, her presence calming despite the intensity of the situation. Failure is a part of the journey, Emma. No one has all the answers, and no one is perfect. But if you choose to move forward, the core will guide you. It will show you what you need to see, and it will help you become who you are meant to be. Emma felt a flicker of hope rise within her, though it was fragile. Could she really become something more than she was? Could she rise to the challenge? I'm scared, Emma admitted, her voice small. But I want to try. I want to understand what's happening to me, and I want to make a difference. Zaralyn smiled softly, a rare warmth in her expression. That is all anyone can ask for, Emma. The willingness to try, the courage to face the unknown. The core has chosen you because it believes you have the strength inside you. Now, you must find that strength and use it. Emma nodded, though uncertainty still lingered in her heart. She had no idea what the future held, but she knew one thing, she couldn't turn back. She had already taken the first step into this new world, and there was no way to undo it. The thought of what might lie ahead still filled her with fear, but there was something else too, a sense of purpose, a sense of destiny that had begun to take root inside her. So, what do we do now? Emma asked, her voice steady but curious. What's the next step? Zaralyn looked at her, her expression filled with quiet confidence. Now, we begin. We learn. We understand. And we prepare for the challenges that lie ahead. You are not alone, Emma. We will face this together. The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Emma knew the road ahead would not be easy. But for the first time since she had touched the core, she felt a spark of determination. Whatever the core had awakened in her, she was ready to face it. She would learn what it meant to embrace the power that had chosen her. And whatever challenges came, she would face them, alongside Zaralyn, and with the core as her guide. The days that followed were filled with uncertainty, but also a strange sense of purpose. Emma and Zaralyn spent their time in the station, studying the core and its effects on Emma. The more Emma interacted with it, the more she could feel a shift within herself, something deep, something ancient awakening in her. It was both exhilarating and terrifying. She could feel the energy surging through her veins, like a current she wasn't sure she could control. Zaralyn had become a constant presence, always watching, always guiding, her calm demeanor helping to steady Emma when the fear threatened to overwhelm her. Do you feel it? Zaralyn asked one day, her voice low and observant. Emma nodded, her hand pressed to her chest, as if she could somehow contain the energy swirling inside her. Yes. It's like it's alive inside me. I can feel it pulsing, almost like a heartbeat. Zaralyn stepped closer, her silver eyes studying Emma intently. It is alive, in a way. The core chooses those it believes are worthy. And it has chosen you, Emma. But you must learn to harness its power. Emma swallowed hard, her mind racing with questions. How? How do I control it? I don't even know what this is. Zaralyn placed a hand on her shoulder, her touch firm but comforting. You don't control it, Emma. You learn to accept it, to work with it. The core is not a force to be tamed, it is a part of you now. You are connected, and as you grow, so will the power inside you. Emma closed her eyes, trying to absorb her words. She had never asked for this, never expected her life to turn into something so unimaginable. But she couldn't deny the truth, this was her new reality. She was linked to something ancient, something powerful. She was part of something far greater than herself. I don't know if I can do this, Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. What if I fail? Zaralyn's gaze softened, and for a moment, Emma saw the alien's vulnerability. You will not fail, Emma. You are stronger than you think. The core has chosen you because it believes you have what it takes. But you must trust yourself. Trust in the power you now possess. Emma nodded slowly, though doubt still lingered in her mind. She had never been one to trust herself, never believed she had anything special to offer. But this was different. She had no choice but to face it head-on. Okay, she said, her voice shaky but determined. I'll try. For the next few days, Zaralyn continued to guide Emma, teaching her how to focus her energy, how to let it flow through her rather than fight it. Emma spent hours meditating, trying to quiet her mind and open herself up to the power within her. It was a struggle at first. Her body would tense, the energy would surge out of control, and she would panic. But Zaralyn was patient, never pushing her too hard. You are learning, Zaralyn would say, her voice calm and encouraging. The more you accept the core, the more it will respond to you. Slowly, Emma began to feel more in tune with the power inside her. It wasn't easy, but she could feel the energy becoming less intimidating, more like a part of her. She could call on it when she needed it, and when she did, she could sense its vast potential, like an endless well just waiting to be tapped. One day, after a long meditation session, Emma opened her eyes and looked at Zaralyn, her expression more focused than it had been before. I think I'm starting to understand, she said quietly. Zaralyn smiled, a rare and small smile. I knew you would. You are beginning to see the truth. The core has given you its power, but it is up to you to decide how you will use it. Emma stood there for a moment, feeling the weight of Zaralyn's words. She had always felt so small, so insignificant, compared to the vastness of the universe. But now, for the first time in her life, she felt like she was a part of something much bigger, something that could shape the future. She didn't know what would come next, but she was ready. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with the power the core had given her. She wasn't the same person anymore. She was something more. And for the first time, Emma felt that maybe, just maybe, she could make a difference. Emma stood before the core, her breath shallow as she tried to calm the storm of emotions churning inside her. She had come a long way since that first touch, the one that had set everything in motion. The power within her had grown, not just in strength, but in complexity. Each day, she could feel herself changing, becoming something different. It was both a gift and a burden. The energy within her was no longer just a foreign force, it had become a part of her, like another heartbeat, another breath. But the weight of that power was not lost on her. Zaralyn had told her she needed to embrace it, but how could she? What if she wasn't strong enough? What if she made a mistake? You are ready, Emma, Zaralyn's voice cut through her thoughts, calm and steady, a grounding force. Emma turned to face her, the alien silver eyes soft with understanding. Are you sure? Emma asked, doubt still hanging in the air between them. Zaralyn nodded. I have seen the way you have embraced the core's power. You may not understand it all yet, but you have learned to trust yourself. That is the first step. Emma let out a breath she didn't realize she had been holding. Trusting herself. That was the hardest part. She had spent so much of her life doubting her abilities, wondering if she was ever enough. Now, she had to believe in herself, in something far bigger than anything she had ever imagined. What happens next? Emma asked, her voice steady, though the uncertainty still lingered. Zaralyn gave her a small smile. Next, we leave this station. There is more to this power than just what you have learned here. You must continue your journey, find the answers to the questions that remain. Emma felt a sense of dread wash over her. The thought of leaving the station, the only place that had felt safe since she first encountered the core, filled her with fear. But I don't know where to go, Emma said quietly. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking for. Zaralyn's expression softened, her tone gentle. You don't have to know everything right now, Emma. The core will guide you. It is part of you, and it will show you the way when the time is right. Emma nodded, but doubt still lingered in her chest. The idea of venturing into the unknown, of facing whatever came next, felt overwhelming. Yet, as she looked at Zaralyn, she realized she wasn't truly alone. She had someone by her side, someone who understood what she was going through. Together, they could face whatever the universe had in store. Okay, Emma said after a moment, her voice filled with determination. Let's go. I'm ready. The words felt strange coming out of her mouth, but they also felt right. She wasn't just ready to leave the station. She was ready to face the unknown, to embrace the power within her and see where it would take her. Zaralyn led the way to the station's exit, and as they stepped into the vast emptiness of space, Emma felt a rush of excitement, tempered by the quiet fear of what lay ahead. The stars stretched out before her, vast and endless, a reminder of the infinite possibilities that awaited. It was a new chapter, a new beginning. And as Emma took that first step into the unknown, she couldn't help but feel that she was on the brink of something monumental, something that would change her, the universe, and everything she knew forever. The void of space stretched out endlessly before them, vast and infinite, a sight both beautiful and overwhelming. Emma and Zaralyn drifted together, the station now far behind them, as they navigated through the quiet expanse. Emma's heart pounded in her chest, the weight of the journey ahead settling on her shoulders. She had taken the first step, but there was so much more to learn, so much more to understand. Where do we go from here? Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper, the stars outside their vessel reflecting in her eyes. Zaralyn glanced over at her, her expression thoughtful. There are places scattered across the galaxy where knowledge of the core might be found. Ancient temples, hidden archives, remnants of civilizations that understood its power. But you must be prepared, Emma. The road ahead will not always be easy. Emma nodded slowly, trying to steady her nerves. She had always imagined that the future would be something predictable, something she could control. But now, her future was uncertain, filled with possibilities she couldn't even begin to fathom. How do we know where to start? She asked. Zaralyn's gaze turned toward the stars, her voice soft yet firm. The core will guide you. It's already connected to you, and it will show you the path. But you must learn to trust it, to follow the signs it gives you. Emma felt a strange sense of peace settle over her. It wasn't that she had all the answers now, far from it. But something inside her, something deep and ancient, had awoken. She could feel it, like a compass pointing her forward, guiding her towards something she couldn't fully understand yet. As they traveled further into space, Emma couldn't help but think about her life before all of this. She had been a simple person, with simple dreams. And now? Now, she was part of something much larger. She was no longer just a passenger in her own life. She was a player in a story that stretched across the stars, one that would shape not just her future, but the fate of the universe. What if I'm not ready for this? Emma asked, the fear creeping back into her voice. Zaralyn turned to her, her expression filled with quiet understanding. No one is ever truly ready, Emma. But that's the beauty of it. You learn as you go, and you grow stronger with each challenge. The core chose you because it believes you have the strength to face whatever comes. Emma took a deep breath, trying to absorb her words. She didn't know if she was strong enough. But she had to try. She had to believe that she could rise to the occasion, that she could unlock the full potential of the power that lay within her. I guess we'll find out soon enough, Emma said, her voice steady now, though there was still a hint of uncertainty. Zaralyn gave her a small, encouraging smile. Yes, we will. And whatever happens, we face it together. They continued on, the stars passing by in a blur, each one a reminder of the vastness of the universe, and the small, yet significant role Emma now played within it. As the journey stretched on, Emma couldn't help but feel that the core had only revealed the beginning of something extraordinary. She wasn't just carrying its power, she was carrying a piece of the universe itself. And that, she realized, was both her greatest challenge and her greatest gift. Together, with Zaralyn by her side, Emma was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The universe was vast, but with the core and its power, Emma was no longer alone in the infinite darkness. She had a purpose now. And that purpose was only beginning to unfold.